You know.
So back to what you were saying is like, you just said that you thought that I wasn't expecting you to know how to do it, and I was.
No, okay, so it's opposite.
Yeah.
See, my perception's opposite, I guess.
Yeah. And it made me angry.
You were stressed that I didn't know how to do it. It made me stressed,
yeah. But that's not fair because you had never done it.
I didn't just know.
Yeah. It's like, I just assumed because you're a male or whatever, possibly, like, you just should know how to do it. And that was putting a gender role on you that I shouldn't have.
Just like reverse sexism? What?
Just like you would probably expect me to know how to cook, and I don't.
I mean, I was hoping for some Italian gourmet, but, you know.
My mom didn't want me in the kitchen.
Whatever. She probably still don't want you in the kitchen.
No, she doesn't. When I go home, I sit in the dining room or living room, and I encourage Lizzie and my mom just kind of jump in on it.
Luckily, you can buy pre-made baked ziti. It's fine.
Sure can. No, I'm just kidding. But go ahead.
I ain't missing no meals. It's all right. But I forgot what my point was.
Well-rounded. Like, I think people should be well-rounded. That was like the whole point.
That was your point?
The whole skill set. Yeah, the whole skill set. Like, just because you work in technology doesn't mean that you can't know or learn how to replace a toilet.
Well, I think the biggest problem that I had with it is that when you looked it up on YouTube, the professionals make it look like it's just the easiest thing in the world.
It's not. When
literally these old houses, nothing is cut straight. It's like the whole neighborhood was built by drunks.
It definitely was.
Like legit, like that 45-degree cut is really like 46 and a quarter.
Right. No, remember Danny was like, oh, it should be no problem to just remove your garbage disposal. Like, no problems.
Rusted in there.
It was rusted in there where he had to drill it out, saw it out. Yeah. And I was gonna be like, oh yeah, then Nate can do that. Like, there's no need for you to help us with that. Like, I know you have bigger things to do. I'm so thankful for them, but Danny and Toby, they're awesome. They've helped us a lot with things like that. We're just
above our skill set.
But above our skill set, and we're just not comfortable dealing with. But he was like, yeah, this garbage disposal was definitely an original garbage disposal from 1989. So it is stuck there.
Yeah.
So.
I said
and Nate wouldn't have been able to do that. And I would have been freaking out if I came walking in through the house and he had a chainsaw under there, sawing it off. Whatever he had, I was like, it looked like a chainsaw. But I would have been like, what are you doing? I wouldn't have trusted the fact that you knew what you were doing if I saw you with that saw. Right. But Danny is a professional, so I trusted him to do that. But
yeah,
I don't know. It was just interesting.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's come up with the house that I had never seen before. Even though I've been studying real estate for over 2 years.
They don't tell you about that stuff.
Yeah.
They just tell you the monetary thing of it.
A lot of people that do the podcast don't actually live the experience either. They're not there fixing the stuff themselves.
No. They pick up the phone.
They hire people to do it.
They pick up the phone and call. Right.
They're not interested in learning
that side.
What the skill set really takes.
We were, though.
They're interested in the 30-day flip and it's gone.
Look, do you think we would have been interested in learning if we came into the situation having money to pay people to do things? Would you have still been interested in learning how to do stuff?
I think so.
I think so too. I just want to hear what you would say.
I mean, now whether I want to actually do the work or not is different, but I want to have done it at least one time.
I know what it takes, what it's worth, time.
What it's really worth is what I was really interested in is what is this job really worth?
Right. Like we learned that we are not going to.
So if it takes me 6 hours to do something and I'm only worth $20 an hour,
then cool, we'll do it.
It's going to have to be worth more. Like my time is going to have to be worth more,
right?
Than for me not to do it myself.
Like we tell everybody to pay someone to do ceilings. Like if you're gonna scrape the ceilings,
remove
popcorn ceiling and replace it with flat ceilings.
Have professionals.
Do it, because we already realized that was like,
because they can come in with a crew of 6 or 7 and get it done in a couple days.
Whereas it took us 3 months.
Yeah, whereas it took me and Meredith, going room to room while we were living in the house.
3 months.
3 months to
4
do
months.
it. So, and the professionals have the tricks of the trade, like throwing Dawn in.
We didn't know that stuff. Dawn in it.
Yeah.
The mud.
Yeah, Dawn in the.
What's it called? Drywall.
In the drywall mud. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't bubble.
All-purpose something. I remember those little buckets. All-purpose something is gonna haunt my dreams forever.
You always get the dustless. Don't use the all-purpose.
I don't know how this started
when
talking
you're
about.
Living in there.
Well, this is our American dream. We like to go in and just renovate. No.
So for our the housing part of the reason there's a problem in finding housing is because they've made it where you can get 5% traditional mortgages, because the traditional mortgage had to start competing with the FHA loan, first time home buyer loan, which is 3.5% down.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So you can get a 5% traditional mortgage now when you buy a home for the first time.
Which we did.
Which we did. And we did the traditional mortgage because one day this may become a rental for us.
Correct.
So we didn't want
to be tied down by their litigations and what they got
to be tied down by rules of a loan that may or may not be enforced.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot in USDA loans. You have to live in a place a certain amount of time.
There's another one that's weird, like 9 years, Savannah's loan. Somebody's loan.
Well, you can get
a mortgage credit.
It's a tax credit.
Yeah. Yeah, a tax credit.
And the tax credit requires you to live in your home like 10 years before you can sell it.
Or you have to pay it back.
And you can't use it as a rental. You can't have roommates. All kinds of stuff.
Weird stipulations that we just were like, no.
So
we ain't for that.
When you go look at
I'm a rule breaker.
People that are in the 1%, the number one thing they have is a paid for house that they live in. The rest of their stuff might not be paid off, but the house that they live in is paid off. So to have the American dream, the number one thing to do, right, is to pay off the house that you're living in. So the easiest way to do that is what?
House hack?
House hack it. That's right.
We're just going to leave it at that.
So basically you're going to have some way of making income off of your house, and you take that extra income and you put it towards your mortgage. And then a lot of people don't realize that in real estate, you have maintenance that you have to do on your house.
Yeah, so you need to
every year, whether it's paint, replacing windows, replacing toilets, whatever it may be, replacing appliances, and house hacking allows you to do that as well without having to touch your income.
Right. You can use the renter's income or rental people's income.
Use the rental income, So if you have extra rooms that you're not using, that's a great idea to rent those rooms out, or even change your garage into an apartment style where you can, rent out the garage to somebody, stuff like that. I think another great idea is in certain areas, there are really good school districts in certain places. Well, you can go get a huge house and put 2 or 3 of your friends' families together and go rent a huge house together and be in a great school district instead of being in a bad school district. You know, that's another way to house hack is you come all together, 3 or 4 people come together and go rent in a higher district.
I don't like people enough to live with people like that.
Let's say, and you see that it's like, how are immigrants able to come here and make it work? Well, they're multi-generational in a home, right?
Yeah.
They got grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, all in one house.
They're doing it right. That's how
it's a family dynamic.
That's how, when my family moved from, so my mom's side of the family, that's how, when they immigrated here from Sicily, my mom and my grandpa and my aunt and uncle lived upstairs, and then downstairs, my grandfather's parents, which are my great grandparents, lived downstairs.
Right.
And it was 2 separate apartments, and they all lived. It was one dwelling, and they all lived together.
Right.
Like, that's, I don't know. Society basically made it. I don't know what's it called. Taboo. Like, you don't want to live. You're nobody.
That's not a part of the American dream anymore.
Yeah,
living with your parents is not a part of the American dream anymore.
Right. So that's why all these nursing homes started popping up. They didn't have nursing homes like that back in the day.
Right.
But I can tell you for sure that they did that. They set it up like that so somebody can make money off of that situation.
Right.
Because my great grandparents lived with my grandpa till the day they died.
Right.